Hi guys, this is Leela. Welcome to my channel leelawebdev. So in our previous video we have learned about the effects concept, like executing a particular function of code in the mounted, or otherwise including executing the side effect using the use effect whenever any state variable changes. So these are the two types of effects we have learned. So now we need to learn about the cleanup function. So how we can clean up the code. So whenever the component is unmounted or whenever the component enters or anything, so we have another scenario, we have another concept called as an cleanup function. So we can also write the cleanup code using the use effect. So how we can write it? So we can implement that cleanup thing using the use effect cleanup function. So now when you write a function, when you write a use effect thing, so you can also write an optional function to return. So you can also return an optional function. So that means it will return the function from the effect. So now when we will be using this one, so when this function will execute, so this will execute this one in two occasions, that is before the effect is executed again and after a component has been unmounted. So this cleanup function will execute. For example, let's say that here we are having this use effect, right? So this is the use effect. So this use effect, when it will be executed, so this will execute whenever this component is mounted and selected ID variable changes. Okay, so this will trigger. So this use effect will be triggered. So this use effect will be called on the component mounted and the selected ID changes. Now I want to write the cleanup function. Cleanup function means nothing but whenever this component is unmounted, so I want to execute some piece of code. So then this one will be used. So now what I can say is so this side effect so keeps happening after the component has been re-rendered or unmounted. So this cleanup function needs to be executed whenever the component has been re-rendered or unmounted. So then that means whenever the component is unmounted, this method will be executed. So here how you can write it is, so this is our use effect function, right? Here you can return an optional function. So this one will execute. So console.log cleanup function. So this one will execute. So whenever the component is unmounted or re-rendered. For example, let's say that if I go here and if I try to do the inspect element, I will try to show you. And now here I will be writing the monk. And here when I execute this one, see the cleanup function has been executed. So here you need to understand that the cleanup function has been executed. Why? Because so the selected ID has been changed when the component is being re-rendered. Here the cleanup function will be executed again. Now when I try to click on this one, again a cleanup function will be rendered. So why? Because here the cleanup function, the component is not yet destroyed. The component we have sent a selected ID has been changed. So that means the use effect has been re-executing. So before re-execution, so this cleanup function will be executed. So when we will be using this one, so now you need to understand that component renders. So whenever the component renders, so this one executes the effect. Okay, execute effect if dependency array includes the updated data. So then, and also another one is component unmount. So component unmount also it will execute. So component unmount means, for example, let's say that I have clicked on this back button. Now it has been executed. Cleanup function has been executed. So like this, when the component unmounts also, this will be executed. So when we can use this cleanup function, so what are the different ways where we can use this unmount function? So one method where we can use it is the HTTP request. So whenever in your use effect, so you are using HTTP request, suddenly if you, for example, let's say that using this selected ID, I am getting all the book details. That is nothing but from HTTP I am trying to get it. So here I am trying to get it. Immediately the selected ID has been changed. Then what will happen? That HTTP request is getting already executed. Again the use effect will be executed. So what we need to do? We need to cancel that request. So here you can write that cancel that previous request. You can write a function to cancel that previous request. So this is one place where we can use it. And another one is API subscription. So whenever you have subscribed to an API or anything, so if you want to cancel the subscription, so you can use this one. And also when you are starting a timer on the use effect, and whenever you are going back to the other component or when the component is unmounted, if you want to stop the timer, then also we can use this useEffect clean function. And also another place where we can use it is the event listener. So whenever you are using an event listener, so whenever you have attached event listener and you want to remove that event listener also, this one will be useful. And starting timer. So these are the places where potential cleanup things where we can use this effect cleanup function. Now in this video, I will try to show you one simple scenario where we can use this cleanup function. Okay. So now for example, let's say that, so here this is the title of this page we are having React app. So this is our books.db app. So let's try to change this one. So I am going to index.html. Okay. Here this is our React app. I have changed it to books.db. So this is our project. Now if you try to see here, so this one we have executed. Now if I try to press monk, so we are able to see that books.db has been there in the page title. Now what I want to do is, so when I click on this book one, so we are trying to see the book details, right? I want to show the title of this book here in the title. So what can I do here? Whenever the book details is getting loaded, so we need to take this title and we need to show it here. Okay, fine. Let's go to the book details. And here, instead of writing this return function also, so now you need to understand that each effect should do only one thing. So that means one functionality has been should be done by single useEffect. So use only one useEffect hook for each side effect. So this makes effects easier to clean up. So now I want to write, whenever this component is mounted, I want to change the title of the document. So here I will be writing another useEffect. I don't want to disturb that previous one, which is calling the API call. So here I want to change the document.title is equal to, so here I want to show the book, okay, and the title. So here I can write book.title. So that's it. So now if you try to see the output for this one, if I go, so here think like a monk, you'll be able to see it. So for example, if I refresh this page and here, so this should be called on the mounted, right? So I am giving a square brackets, fine. So now if you try to go here, I will be searching for monk or anything. And if I click on this one, so here we are, first time we are able to see it's an undefined. So why it's an undefined? So the first time when you're trying to call this component, so we got the selected ID, it is trying to get the book details from the API. So it may take some time. By the time book.title is empty object, it's an empty object. We have defined this one as an empty object. Yeah, here we have defined it as an empty, not. So now here the book.title will not be present on the mounted. So that is the reason it is showing it as an undefined. So after some time this useEffect API got resolved and we are getting the book details. By the time it is not changing. So for this reason what we need to do, so this useEffect needs to be executed whenever this book object is changed. So now what I can do here, so here I can write the book here, or otherwise you can write book.title also. So now this whenever this book object is changed, so this effect will be executed. Okay, let's try to see here. So if I go into this one and if I refresh this page, so let's go to the monk here. So if I try to click here, see after undefined you will be able to see think like a monk. So if I try to press here, so now you will be able to see, so first time you will be able to see undefined and all those things. So here if I try to press monk here again, and here if I click here, first it is undefined, then afterwards it is trying to shift it think like a monk. So here you can write that if not of book then return, so you can return it empty. So now if you try to see the output for this one, so let's refresh this page and here I will press the monk, and if I click here, see after some time instead of undefined we are getting book think like a monk like this. So this is the way how we are showing the title. Now what I want to do is the another scenario. What I want to do is if I click on the back, I don't want to show this think like a monk. Okay, I don't want to show this title. I want to go back to the books.db. So then how I can write? So when this component is unmounted, book details component is unmounted, then only I want to remove this one. So now here the cleanup function comes. So whenever, so this one is unmounted, return, and you can write a function here, and let's try to console.log cleanup function executed. Okay. So now this one will be executed after the component has been unmounted. So now if you try to see here the output, so let's try to see the inspect element. Okay, let's go to the console and I will remove this one. So I have clicked on this one. So cleanup function got executed. Okay, So now if I try to go back, see again the cleanup function got executed. So when the component is unmounted, it is able to execute. So whenever the component re-renders or the component is unmounted, so this cleanup function will be executed. So for this one, because of this book thing. Now here what I can do, so here I can change it to document.title is equal to booksdb. I can write it like this, booksdb. Now if I try to execute this one, so if I refresh this page, now what will happen, let's try to see. So here in the monk, now if I press here, so now we are able to see think like a monk, right? So now if I try to press the back button, now you will be able to see the booksdb, right? So now we are able to see the booksdb. So this is how it will be executed here. So document.title, and also this one, so if you try to see here, so I want to show you that console.log, okay, and I want to show this title also. So now when this, after this component has been unmounted, this function will be executed. So that means this title variable should not be available. Why? Because after the component get completely unmounted, this title variable will not be there. Why? Because this title variable is available in this component. So when this component is completely destroyed, so we cannot have access this title variable. But if you try to see here, so now title is not defined. Okay, so it should be book.title, right? So book.title. Now if you see, if you execute this one, so if you refresh this page, and here if I click on this monk, and if I click here in this one, now think like a monk, it is there, right? So now if I click on the back, see here still it is available. So that means that the book.title still it is available. How this one is possible is, so you need to think that this is a closure function. So this is a function, this is the concept available inbuilt in the JavaScript, the closure function. So whenever you are writing a closure function, so when this function is, when this all component is created, the function is created, so it will able to remember all the functions and the properties which are available in this function whenever this component is destroyed also. So this is the concept of this closure function. So after the component is executed also, this function will able to remember the variables and the methods which are available in this one. So this is the concept of the closure function, nothing but a cleanup function. So this is how we can use the useEffect cleanup function whenever you want to execute a piece of code or a cleanup code. Whenever you want to write when the component is unmounted, you can use this useEffect function, return function, to clean up the data. So that's it guys about this one. So what I will try to do is, I will create a new branch, video-71, and here useEffect cleanup function, sorry, useEffect cleanup function. And if you want to refer this code or anything, if you have any doubts or anything, so the GitHub repository link is provided in the description below, so you can check that code. So if you have any doubts or any suggestions, please post the comments below to this video. And if you like this video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you.